I'm Chris. I'm the Director de Tecnología de Thoughtworks Spain, and I'm not originally from Spain, as you can tell from my trouble in pronouncing it authentically Spanish. I'm Australian, but I've lived in Spain for about 5 years, and I work with Pablo for the consultancy Thoughtworks.
Yeah, I'm Pablo. I'm a lead developer for Thoughtworks. I work within the data and AI service line here in Spain. I started with Thoughtworks in Manchester, but I decided to move to Spain, right?
Yeah.
I was missing, missing the food and the weather, right? I'm originally from a town in Galicia, and currently I live in Barcelona.
I have two. I don't know whether you agree with them or not. The key takeaways, Pablo.
Simple.
So I think one is that data mesh is as much about responsibility as it is about other things. So who should be taking care to do what? And it's a change in responsibility relative to other ways of managing data. So that's kind of a big thing. The other thing that I think is important to bear in mind about data mesh is that it has a lineage with existing ideas about how to build systems well from before data mesh days. So it's not like something that is just completely being made up out of nothing. It's using existing good ideas in a new context.
Yeah. So we always say that you should start by looking at your use cases, right? So what's the value you want to unlock in the data you have? What's the business value, the customer value, and work backwards from there, right? Yeah. So you have a use case, you know it's valuable for the business, you know it's valuable for your customers. So now what are the data products? Data products is the concept from data mesh. Think of it as microservices, right? Yeah. What are the data products you need to fulfill that use case? And then one step backward is like, okay, I need to build these data products. What are the self-service data platform capabilities I need? And finally, you may need a bit of governance also for that first use case, right? Yeah. It's more about deciding how you will collaborate, right? It's not so much about, a lot of governance up front. It's just how you will collaborate within, the teams that are going to build that use case.
And something I'd say about those use cases is you really need to be able to show value within, I think, say 6 months. And this is true of any new technological initiative you do in any company. You can't just tell people, give me a bottomless pit of money and I'll keep doing stuff and eventually I'll give you something that you need. You really need to kind of show that things are working within 6 months, and that builds support, that builds trust. That means that if there's some kind of priority call, your program isn't going to get cancelled. So this is an interesting one and a slightly controversial one, I'd say, in data mesh. So my opinion is that in the long term, we'll see a convergence between systems that are made for analytics and systems that are transactional. But at the moment, systems tend to be optimized for one or the other. So I think it does make sense in data mesh for now, but the distinction is being blurred, partly by use cases that are analytical, but involve serving stuff to real people in production. So there's not kind of like this separation between analytic reports that are emailed to a boss on Monday, and then if they're late, it's fine, or it just means this one person yells at you and then you deal with it. You're using the data to generate analytical insights that are being used to retrain your model, that are being used to give recommendations to your customers on the weekend. So the actual workflow isn't really distinct like it used to be, but I think the performance characteristics of the tools are still a bit separate, although I do know that our friend from Snowflake would advocate that they're trying to make their tools applicable to both domains.
Exactly, like there is the trend to move towards technology that will allow both type of use cases, right?
Yeah, and I guess every vendor wants their technology to work for as many use cases as people are willing to pay for. So the commercial pressure over time, I think, is on convergence.
Yeah, I see a lot of innovation in the front end. For example, I know we came here to do a data talk. I like, front end. I like everything, to be honest. But I see a lot of innovation in the front end, a lot of innovation also in how to build platforms that are easy to use and they improve, the developer experience. I think that will be the key, right? Like I see a lot of innovation in discoverability, both in the data world with, better catalogs, like catalogs that are able to pull information from everywhere in the ecosystem, but also in the transactional operational world, like, things like Backstage. You go to a developer portal and you are able to see everything that's available to build things within your organization, right? What are the business events that the microservices or the services fire? What are the services services, who is the people building services, and also maybe, you know, integrate the data catalog also in those portals, right? What are the data products available and who is building them?
Yeah, I think DevX is a really good example. I might also say that I think it's not a particular innovation, and I don't want to talk about large language models, but I think consumer expectations are undergoing a kind of a step change. So that's not really innovation itself, so it's not directly answering your question, but I think we're getting to a point where consumers are getting used to the things they use having a certain amount of intelligence, and they're getting used to the fact that if they've given some piece of data to a company, if they have another interaction with that company, that piece of data is used as context, and then you don't ask them for it again. You don't ask them a silly question that you could have inferred from previous information. So I think we'll see a lot of companies kind of dragged along because they're customers that use these kind of intelligent products in their personal life. The expectations are going up. So yeah, exactly. Oh, well, that's really good. Yeah, I mean, I think I've never actually been to Malaga before, which kind of disgusts most people I tell that to. I've lived in Spain for some years now, but never actually made it before. I think just it's really nice to come to an event that allows you to get away from your normal life, so you're in a different context, so you can be open to meeting people, so you can be open to discussing ideas. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, for me it's the same, right? And for me it's the people, and you know, the fact that you usually work remotely and you come here and you're able to meet all these people and just have really interesting conversation after the talk, listen to very interesting ideas. I think the speakers were amazing, I learned a lot. And yeah, the beach is a plus, right?
All right, thank you.